We're your hosts,
Aaron Bacus
and Jason Kindler.
We like to sit down with our guests to hear their journey, their challenges, and how they impact the local community.
So grab a seat, tune in, and let's get inspired by Jacksonville's everyday workforce.
Welcome to Hometown Jax. Jim Martin, thank you for coming to the Hometown Jax podcast. I tell you, I've done a lot of these, and I'm a little nervous for the greatness in the room right now. I appreciate you coming by.
You're too kind. You're too kind. And as always, it's always great to see you.
Oh, man. 4th state championship a couple of weeks ago. I mean, you got this smile on the face. It's just huge. Is it getting old winning so many times? Or
No. Each time is special in its own little way. And this one means as much as the other three. And excited for the players, the school, to have 2 great top assistants with me, with my son Tyler and Antoine.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And it just doesn't get any better. I think I've had this smile for 2 weeks now. It's not going away anytime soon either.
I can't imagine. We were talking before we started how special a year it was for Jacksonville high school teams being in the Final Four, several of them in the Final Four, and it being in Jacksonville. Has it ever been in Jacksonville before, or was this the first time?
A quick little story. 50 years ago.
50 years ago.
I played in the 1975 state championship game down in the Coliseum, Tampa Robinson versus Orlando Evans.
Wow.
And we went up against a guy at Orlando Evans, pretty good player named Daryl Dawkins.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've heard of him.
Yeah. So the state was played here in Jacksonville, 1976.
Wow.
And then it moved to Lakeland.
Yeah.
And then it spent a couple years in Tallahassee, back to Lakeland, and now UNF. And I believe the contract's for 5 years. And I will tell you, UNF was fantastic. Lakeland's just okay. And I'll be nice and just say Lakeland's okay. But UNF in the state tournament in Jacksonville is where we want it to be for the people in Jacksonville and the basketball people. Because you get to see all the great basketball besides Jacksonville.
Right.
You see Orlando, Tampa, Fort Myers, Miami, South Florida. It never ends. And you see some very good, talented teams, well coached.
I mean, what a special thing to win your 4th and then do it in Jacksonville the first year they come back. I mean, you just have to be walking on clouds right now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It was fantastic. And we had the seniors along with Tyler and Antoine. They picked out the design on the state ring. So it's sent. We're ready. Hopefully in a few months they can get it to us and we can have that really super banquet.
Man, so special. Great for Jacksonville. And congratulations to your players. I mean, I know several of them. Great group, and those kids work. So it does not come lightly. So I want to talk about your history a little bit. I want to talk about what you're doing now with obviously Providence and above. And then I want to speak to some bigger issues about what you think about kids and how you develop them and the relationship with parents and all things like that that we want to know about. So tell us about your story. Were you born in Jacksonville?
I grew up in Tampa.
Okay.
Was a pretty good player in high school, had the opportunity to sign a scholarship with Jacksonville University.
Excellent.
And it was a great experience. I was there from 1977 to 81. We were in the NCAA tournament in 79.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the NIT in 80.
Wow.
And just had a great experience. And
what position do you play?
I was a 2 guard.
Okay.
And could play a little bit of the combo guard. I would say very fortunate to play all 4 years. I was much better on defense than offense. But back in those times in the 70s and 80s, defense was valued a lot more.
Right. No
than
3
now.
at that point, right?
Yeah. No threes, pounded inside to the big guys. So it was a different era of basketball. But I played for a great coach, and it was fantastic. And then my career kind of started. I was, crazy story, I was running the Federal Reserve Bank downtown, the check processing operations, which doesn't exist anymore because nobody writes checks. And I helped out with the coach at Episcopal at that time, Carl Tatum at Episcopal. This is the unknown trivia.
Right.
That my first stint coaching was at Episcopal, and I was just helping out. Yeah.
Are you sure you want to make that public?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to come out of the closet on that one. But no, it was great. And at that experience, and I came home one time to my wife and I said, I know what I'm supposed to be doing the rest of my life. I'm supposed to be coaching. And she said, if you're going to do it now. Because we were in a financial situation that I could go into coaching and teaching. And when I tell you make no money, I meant back in the 90s, make no money. So I had a relationship with the head coach of Bishop Kenny, Joe Pichardo, Hall of Fame guy, and the athletic director, Bob West. And they hired me as the JV coach, 1995, and then to teach government and economics.
At Bishop Kenny?
At Bishop Kenny.
Wow, you really did make the rounds on some of the rivals, I tell you.
Yeah.
Well, so was basketball in your family before, when you were growing up?
Yeah, basketball was big, baseball was big, sports was big, year round.
Did your dad play?
No, I come from a family, which nowadays I think is a good thing because sometimes the parents can be too involved. But my mom loved to come to the games, didn't know anything about it, loved to watch me and my two brothers. My dad went to very few games. He's, one of those guys in the 50s and 60s that worked all the time.
Right.
So no, it was, the first time I picked up a basketball, I literally fell in love with the basketball. And I thought, man, I hope I can do this for a long time. And I've been doing it for 50 or 60 years now.
Wow.
So it's crazy how a sport can just get you in such a passion and a drive to just, this is what I want to do all my life.
It's interesting doing this podcast and lots of people that have different careers. There's so many of them that have the moments of they knew really early this is what they wanted to do, and you knew really early. What age do you think you were at that point?
I probably was 33 at the time.
Okay.
I'd gone through some things. I'd gone in the military. I got commissioned as a lieutenant in the Army, got to the rank of captain, was in the reserves here in town, working at the Fed, had a great job, and just literally this is what I'm supposed to be coaching.
So you're probably underplaying that, especially your wife being involved. That was a big decision.
It was a big decision.
Yeah, because you're going backwards economically. You're following your dream at that point.
Yeah, no. I to this day I get the Social Security stuff, and my first year teaching and coaching was $26,000. I thought I'd taken off a half a year back in the early 90s, but that's what teachers got paid.
Right.
And it was crazy. Thank God my wife was good about, hey, if you're going to do it. And I feel like, so I'm on my 32nd year now. I don't feel like I've worked one day in those 32 years. I almost feel like I need to give somebody some money back because I think I've enjoyed it more than what most people really should deserve to enjoy it. And the whole thing is all the relationships you get with the families and the kids.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable
right.
when you can go almost anywhere in town and somebody is going to call you coach. And 100%. You're going to go, oh my gosh, wherever we're at.
Big responsibility, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in line that want to thank you too. So I can tell that maybe half of the smile on your face is for the championship. The other half is just you're doing what you love to do. You were born to do it.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to that progression. Bishop Kenny, JV coach. What happened after that?
So my 5th year at Kenny, I had the opportunity that year to be the head coach for 1 year. The head coach, Pichardo, was stepping out a year, and he was kind of taking some time off, and they just promoted me up to varsity. We had a really good team, a really good group of seniors. We made it to the regional semifinals, won 23 games, and I got a taste of being a varsity head coach. And I thought, man, this is good. and I'm gonna be a head coach. Coach Pichardo was going to come back, and I knew he was going to be around for another 7 or 8 years. So I knew at that time I was probably going to have to, find another job to be a head coach. And the AD at Providence, Coach Bistro, was the AD now at Providence, and she was the girls' coach. She was, come on over, interview. And I'm like, I don't know about Providence. It's brand new school.
Brand new.
And I said, man, Bishop Kenny's so well established, and I love this job. And I said, but I'll interview. And the interview went great. I loved everybody there. And in the interview process, and I'm going to come clean on this one, I wasn't thinking I was going to take the job. And then they offered me a couple more $1,000. and I'm still not going to take the job because I love Kenny and it's a brand new school. And the head of school at that point, and I love this guy to death, Mr. Barfield, he says, hey, and by the way, all your kids go to school free.
Okay.
And I'm kind of a math guy. I quickly figured out that was about $18,000 that I would save by not paying private school tuition. I was paying at Kenny for my oldest son, and then the two little ones, Tyler and my daughter Angela, I was paying at Assumption. And I literally pretty much on the spot go, I'll take it. So that's how
funny.
quickly I became the coach at Providence. And
So what year was that? Do you remember?
2000.
2000. That is just so crazy.
2000.
So we're going on 26 years.
26 years.
That's and have they ever had a basketball? Was that when the school was brand new?
No, it was the second year. So they had won a total of 6 games the first 2 years.
Okay.
And they were not very good.
Right.
They were just a struggling small Christian school that's just launching their program. So
Right.
they weren't very good. And I was so fortunate that I talked my oldest son into coming, who's a really good player, and he was at Kenny. And that went down to August where he finally made a decision, because I was going to leave it up to him. He said, Dad, I'll come with you. He was a sophomore. And they had 2 really good players on campus that were really good young players. And then 2 players from University Christian that were friends of my son that weren't playing decided to come too. So, and then I had to run off some seniors who didn't buy into the hard work
Right.
and let's get after it in the
Right.
summer program
Right.
stuff. So I said, that's okay. We're going to change the culture here. We're going to create a winning culture. And I was very fortunate with that group of 4 sophomores and 1 senior my first year. We won 19 games.
Wow.
My first year. at Providence.
Winning 6 for 2 years and then 19 the third year.
Which was my first year. And then it only literally got better from there. By time those guys were seniors, we played in the regional finals game. They went 31-3.
Wow.
And then just fantastic. It only got better in time.
Well, there's a couple things I wanted to ask you from what you said there. First of all, you have 3 kids, two sons and 1 daughter. Did the 2 sons played? Did the daughter play?
The daughter played.
Okay. And she went to Providence too?
They all there. Tyler and Angela are the younger ones, and they went all the way through pre-K, kindergarten through. They were all basketball players, and then they were all baseball and softball players. My daughter, who's the best of the 3,
of course,
I'm putting it on the record. She goes, Dad, with my sports, I'm just doing it for fun. I don't need any more help. I don't need any more practice from you. And she had a great career at Providence, both in softball and basketball. But I was a hands-off dad then. She did her team stuff and loved all the team stuff. And she would play some in some travel teams, but it was very little. Now, the 2 sons, it was heavy hands-on.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about because, that's an interesting dynamic. That could go either way. You're coaching your sons. Was there ever any hesitation with that? Like, is this the right thing to do? Like, how did that work? Obviously it worked out, but like, what was the thought process and how did you get through
it's
that?
A fine line now.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line because in the case with my 2 sons, Travis is the oldest and then Tyler, both different personalities. You kind of had to handle them differently. You had to try to keep it as fair as possible for them and the team. But I would say most times the coaches err on the side of trying to make it a little bit harder.
Right.
On them, you want the best for them, and you got to coach them up probably a little bit harder. But I'll say this: at times when I did coach them up hard, we always had 2 cars at the games. They could always ride home with Mom. I didn't have too many volunteers wanting to ride home with me, but it worked out. It's funny. They both they were all city first team basketball, but they were better in baseball. The oldest son had a great career at UNF baseball.
Neat.
And then Tyler took off originally and played baseball at UCF. He's a pitcher.
Yeah,
and
I didn't
then
know that.
Somewhere in his 4th or 5th year decided he wanted to do basketball, transferred and finished up his career playing basketball at Valdosta State.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
he's
got an interesting.
So you didn't have the problem of having kids that weren't good. That was not a problem.
No, I learned a long time ago. Coach Pichardo at Bishop came. He knew I had children, and he gave me the best advice. He said, "Jim, if your children are going to play, they either got to be the best or the worst." Because parents understand if they're the worst and you got them on the team, and they understand the best because they're literally the best player out there.
Right.
So our focus was never to just be okay. We had to be the best, and
That
you
is
had to be
great
the best
advice.
shooter.
I mean,
you had to be the best shooter. You had to be the guy. You had to block out every time. You had to be that guy now, because can't have any questions on whether I'm playing any favoritisms. So luckily, the two sons bought into it. They knew that you had to be like that, and they both had really good.
Wow, what an
careers.
interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned something that was really interesting. Instill a winning culture. So you did that your first year. Like, did you inherently know what to do?
Yes.
Like, that's a big take on for.
Yes.
How did you know? Just from your experience
From
playing?
my experience at JU, from my experience as a player, my experience at coaching, like I literally wake up in the morning, try to win everything. I win every possession in life and on the court. So we're not taking a play off. Like on the offensive end, I'm trying to win. On the defensive end, I'm trying to win. So there's 60 or 70 plays in the game. If in those 60 or 70 plays, you're not going to win them all. But if I make the effort to win, the other guy's not doing it. The other guy's not doing it.
Right.
To that level. And we've carried that culture to Providence. If you look at our team, and some of the dominance is that we play on both ends. We will look to win the game on defense alone. We also got really good offensive players that can score. We're going to try to outscore you too. So when you look at those margins of victories that we've had through my career, it's because we're trying to win. We're trying to win every possession. And then we set the bar as high as you can set the bar from day one every year. We're not trying to win 18, 20 games. We're not trying to win a district. We're not trying to win one or two regional games. We are built year-round to try to win a state title. Now, we don't always do it, but we set the bar high. The practices are as good as any practices you've ever seen at the high school level. And we compete on every possession of every practice. So when you get into a state tournament, nothing changes, guys.
Right.
Nothing changes. We don't have to be nervous. We do this every day. It's just another game. We're going to go dominate them on the defensive end, and then we hope we can outscore them a little bit on the offensive end. It takes all the pressure off the offensive end when you're making that effort to win every possession on the defensive end.
Well said. Obviously, it's worked pretty well. You've a legendary coach here in Jacksonville. Again, 4 state championships, pretty amazing. So 26 years, and you're progressively going through that. Let's go to the first state championship. Does that vividly come to your mind?
Comes great to my mind.
So was that when Grayson Allen was on the team?
Patrick Young.
Oh, Patrick Young first before.
Patrick Young.
Okay, so when you got
started.
Patrick to come over, because I remember he was at another school, wasn't he? Before?
Best story with Patrick Young.
I want to hear it.
So we're pretty good. In 2008, we have a regular season. We're 25-0. We finish up 27-1. We can't get past Arlington Country Day. Two pros on the teams with Roddy Magruder, who played for the Heat, and Wally Judge. We can't get by them. We beat them twice. Can't beat them in the regional finals. We finish it up, and Patrick was at Paxson.
Yep.
And he was committed to Florida, and phenomenal player. But Paxson was just an okay team. And Paxson somehow didn't see him in the middle of the court calling for the ball like this.
Nobody has an inside game anymore, Coach. Come on, you know that.
This was 2010. We still had an inside game in 2010. And the frustration for Patrick was probably off the chart,
right?
Just because how good he was, and he'd play in these games, and Paxson would be in some big games, and he'd finish up with 4, 5, 6 points, get very few touches. If he was going to touch it, he had to step out and almost shoot a 3 at the time for a touch. And to me, it's one of the great stories because he was going to transfer, And his dad called Coach Donovan, and I have a close relationship with Billy Donovan. We've been friends for a long time. And he said, Coach, he's gonna transfer. Do you have any suggestions? Because Patrick had already committed to Florida. And Coach Donovan said, at that time, he said, if I had a child and a basketball player, and I lived in Jacksonville, Florida, there's only one guy he would play for. It'd be Coach Martin at Providence.
Wow.
And the next day, Patrick registered at Providence.
Wow.
And it's just, with Patrick and myself, it's just been a huge love affair because he came in and captain of the team, led us. I don't know that I've coached a nicer kid than that. He's a spiritual kid.
Right.
He probably
came from a great family. We had
he's
him on the
unbelievable.
podcast.
He's unbelievable. He's helped me with my Christian walk. He's a mentor to many. He's a SEC net. I mean, I probably can't say enough great things about Patrick. And to this day, we're probably as close as we've ever been in how much that we care for each other and truly love each other.
That's really cool. What a story. So literally, you grab him, you win the state title the next year.
We grab him.
So you got past Arlington Country Day. Was it?
Yeah.
Was it? Was it the moment you're playing and you have Patrick like
Arlington
we're ready now?
went into another classification.
Okay.
They dropped down one. We went up one, and we were unbelievable. It's one of the more dominant teams I've ever coached. One of Grayson's teams was really dominant like that too. So we knew that we were going to play. We knew we were going to make it to the Final Four. We knew that we were going to have a big-time matchup in the semis against Sagemont that had literally 3 pros on that team with Fab Melo as the centerpiece, ended up playing at Syracuse in the Celtics, and they had a Will Sheehy and Rod Day. So they had their horses and we had our horses, and we meet them in the semifinal. Whoever wins this is going to win the state type thing. We're down 6. And I probably made a mistake. Fab Melo was 7 foot and Patrick 6'9", and I thought we had to really front him instead of playing behind. And we got caught on some fronts that the weak side wasn't there. And again, they're thrown into a 7-footer, and they were able to throw over the top. So we're down 6 going into halftime. And to this day, I'll never forget talking to the players. And all of them talk about this talk. I said, we got them right where we want them. We're down 6. And I said, now, no one's in foul problems. We're going to take off the gloves, the boxing gloves.
Interesting.
And back in those days,
a little more
guys
flexible.
used to put gloves on. But really, if you really wanted to get serious, you took the gloves off.
Right.
And you would do stuff with just your fists.
Right.
So they knew that now we're going to cut loose on how aggressive. And I said, Patrick, go ahead. Get behind him and defend him. And so we changed that one thing, and we got so physical. I mean, I've never seen us play that physical. And we end up winning by 13 in that game.
Wow.
And then we won by 20 in the first state title in 2010 down in Lakeland. And we were that much better. And just the first one is the first one. It meant so much.
Gosh.
And the kids and it was truly a special moment.
Well, has Jacksonville had a lot of state titles across the high schools or no?
No, not as much as you'd think. We've gotten there a bunch. But there's only been and we've got there a bunch. Some of it's just the timing, and I think there's.
Well, it's really hard.
I think it's a little luck involved too.
Yeah,
that
of
you
course.
got to have a little bit of that. You got to make sure kids are healthy. It comes down to a free throw, a block out.
Right.
2 straight possessions. You hit back to back. It's so hard every step of the way. At each level, you get closer to that
For sure.
championship. Trophy. It's not easy.
So fast forward to 13 and 15. Those are the Grayson Allen years. Was he on the team?
Grayson was 2013 and 14.
Okay.
We got upset in 14.
Wow. I heard many people say when Grayson was playing, literally when you had a home game, there was a line going out of the gym, and you couldn't fit any more people in the gym, and you had to sneak him out after the game because he was that well known and famous.
Those are all true stories. We had a great team with them too. We had 5 Division I guys on that team now.
Right.
And Grayson was obviously the best player, but the gym would be full. We'd have him up on the stage. There'd be games that we would have to film and then put it into the cafeteria because the fire marshal would only let us 1,000 people in there. And then after the game, there would be a line of autograph seekers that we would let them sign autographs, but after 30 minutes, we got to go.
Right.
And then I'd have to be the bad guy, and that's it. Grayson, you got to go. Whatever.
Wow.
That's it. So I had to be the bad guy, get him out of there. But
So 13 you win, 14 you're
13
upset.
we win. He's a junior. 13 we win. We kind of upset, come out of nowhere. Grayson has his now 2012 we're Final Four team, don't win it. 2013 we bring back some of those guys, and that's when Grayson had his coming out as a junior. He's 27 and 27 back-to-back nights.
Wow.
And MVP of the state tournament.
Wow.
So yeah, we win that, and that's a special group. We return a bunch of those guys in 14. 14 may have been our greatest team ever, but if you don't win it, it doesn't go down.
That's right.
So 13 we win it, 14 we come back, and
15 you win.
13 we win it, 14 we're back in it, lose, 15 we come back. And that 15 group was ready to tell everybody we're just as good without Grayson as we are with him. So those guys had heard that for a couple years, and they were all good players, and they loved Grayson, but it was their time now to shine, and they wanted to be able to go out. All 3 state championship, let me get this right. No, not that team. 2 of them were 31-1, I know that.
Wow.
10 and 15 were 31-1. 2010 to 2015, what people kind of forget about because it's been such a time period, 2010 to 15, those 5 years now, all 5 years, we're in the Final Fours. They ranked in the top 25 in the country.
We'll get back to the story in just a second, but while you're listening, here's something you should know if you live in Northeast Florida. If you're self-employed and trying to buy a home, it's not as hard as you might think. We work with business owners, freelancers, and creatives every single day. People who don't fit the traditional housing molds, and we're here to let you know that we have a real loan programs that make homeownership possible. We've helped tons of local business owners and creatives get approved using flexible loan options that work for them and their business. First Coast Mortgage Funding is proud to sponsor Hometown Jax right here in Jacksonville.
And then just recently, 2000. What took you so long to win this one? I mean, 10 years. I mean, come on.
I guess I was slacking. I don't know.
You have always, your schedules, you play hard teams throughout the years. So when you have wins, I mean, they're against somebody. I mean, you go around and play very tough teams.
Yeah.
So I think this team this year had a few losses, but
right.
You play tough teams.
We win 29-3. We have one of the top 5 schedules in the state of Florida. We knew that if we were going to be good and we set the bar high, we had to get to Orlando quite a few times. We had to play teams from South Florida. We went over to Fort Myers, played 2 of the best teams. We play Bartow in January. They're in this tournament. They're 24th in the country. We upset them, come back and beat Coeur Glades, which was a top team in the state of Florida, back-to-back big wins, and of course Nolan was with us. We knew then we were going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Can you remember, what's your most memorable win? Does one come to your mind right off the bat?
I would say that one I just talked about in 2010 where we were down. It could have gone either way, and that's as memorable as anything because either team could have won that one. So that one probably was the most memorable win of any of the state titles. And the only ones you are going to win that's going to be at that level will be state championship games that you remember almost play by play.
Right.
Play by play.
And then flipping the script, memorable loss, the most memorable loss.
I would say the 2014 team. We're 2014 Grayson senior year. We have played a big-time national schedule. We have played the best of the best. We've beaten some of the best of the best.
Right.
And we're on a roll. We're the heavy favorite. If we win that, we're going to what was the Dick's National Championship up in New York City.
Wow.
And we play Sagemont. They come up with a little bit of a zone gimmick defense. Grayson comes down the court, first play of the game, hits an NBA three. And we're like, okay, here we go. The problem was in that game for Grayson and for our team, we started settling real quick on shots that weren't going down. And I think we lost a little bit of patience in this little zone defense. And we settled for shots where if we had taken a little bit more time, we would have been a little bit better off.
When you run your offenses, or do you design them, are you saying we need 3 touches before we go? Like, what's your philosophy generally on that? Because I did want to ask you on your coaching style, what's the combination of running according to your plan versus letting kids do what they want to do, like operate free? Question. What's the clash there?
That's a great question. It's a fine line. We want to go fast. We want to take great shots. So we would like to take a shot in 8 seconds now.
Interesting.
We would love to get out there and go, and you get your feet set, take it. When you're going to take that away from us, then we want to run our stuff and get that same great shot. And in most offenses, you've got a really good shot, and one more pass will create the great shot. We're looking for the great shot.
Right.
So we would love to get in a track meet because we feel like we got great shooters. And if you want to get into a shooting contest with us, we feel let's do it. Right. And so we want to get a shot in 8. If we can get it up, push it up, either a layup or a 3, no in between, no twos, unless it's a layup.
Interesting.
Everything else, we're running to the spots.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I'm feeling that's a newer generation of play. And, obviously you know way more about it than me, but when I see the Gators play, they get that outbound and they're sprinting up the court.
Pass it up.
But that's not that's not traditional basketball. I'm assuming. Right. Have you changed your coaching style?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
And that because of the 3 becoming more of a thing?
The players are built for that now too.
Okay.
The players come. We build our offense around the players that we have, but the players are playing. They're all now accustomed to the 35-second clock. We've got accustomed to it. So we have changed over the years. We like that style. We like the style that we're going to try to get a shot off in 8 seconds. We like the style that when we do have to run our offense, and Tyler's got some good offense, and then we're going to beat you with our execution too.
Interesting.
You've got to be, with Tyler and Antoine, you got to be what I call students of the game. Those guys break down more film on us and in films at every level for us to be able to do the stuff we do. It's next level. Antoine handled everything defensively, Tyler everything offensively, and it's taking stuff from colleges, pros. It's taking high school games. We see something, we're going to steal it if we like it.
Very
type
cool.
Thing. So the offense is important, and it is a fine line because like some coaches will get out there and run, and that's all they know. That's all they're going to do. Then all of a sudden they get into a half-court game. They can't win that. The teams want to stay in a half-court game. That's not how the style is being played. Then the teams that can get out and push it, they get those quick baskets. Now it's a 15, 20-point game because you're not used to. So you have to be able to adjust to be successful.
So if what I'm hearing is fast-paced, take the shot, but we also teach how to fall back and get on an offense and run some plays.
As soon as you take us out of that first shot within 8 seconds, now we're going to execute what we want to run.
Okay.
And we can mix it up in a lot of different varieties. We can get the shooter something. We can get a slip to the rim. We can see where you're bringing help defense, and we're going to expose the weak side. So it only takes us a couple of possessions to see we got him over here, and then we're going to run that quick hitter.
What we were joking about it earlier, but the inside game. So that seems to be something that has gone by the wayside. It's funny when you were saying, Patrick, like nobody's passing to this tall kid in the middle who could probably dominate. Obviously, you had with Nolan this year a little bit of that. So talk about that because that seems old school basketball. But why would it not be new school basketball too if you have the horses to do it?
Yeah. I'll give you a couple things on that with some analytics in way the game is called. You pound it inside, and back then, if you got fouled inside, let's say on a 50-50 play, the offensive player probably got the call. Now that player on the same play doesn't get the call. So you just took a 2-pointer. The shot was challenged. Your team thinks it's a foul. The other team thinks it's great defense. You were only going to get 2 points out of that. So you miss that shot, come down, miss a couple of those shots, no calls. It doesn't pan out well to you. So now, that same guy that can shoot it like Nolan, I can step him out, and he's probably not even covered because that 5 is learned to protect the rim.
Right.
He's in the lane, and then Nolan's just licking his chops to knock down that 3.
That is so interesting.
We exploited teams with that. And I would say now, different than Patrick's era, any young player that would come to us that would be 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", if you used and called him a 5, he probably transfers from your school at the high school level because at the college and pro level, they want to see that guy that's referred to as a stretch 3, a stretch 4, a stretch 5. And what they're saying is that guy can step out and shoot the 3.
That is so interesting. And I love how you bring up the stats. The 3-point has just changed the stats. So like you're breaking down the stats after the game and the culmination of the games, and it just makes better sense. The odds are better overall on the 3s.
Yeah. They'll call the foul on the 3. If you foul the guy on the 3, the referee sees that. But I'm tired of the 50-50 calls that always get away from us on that.
Wow, that is really, really cool. So you spend a lot of time in the statistics, as you should. We talked about the balance of the kids and your coaching. It was a great breakdown there. Let's talk about the parents. I'm a parent. You're a parent. Like, that has got to be probably one of the most difficult parts about being a great coach is learning how to set expectations, to put the team together, because not everybody can play the whole time.
Yeah.
So how have you done that over the years?
So I'm very fortunate. So I'm going to tell you from my perspective and then probably what young coaches have to deal with without a track record. I'm going into my next year, 32nd year. I've been very fortunate to have great players. I've won almost 700 games. I've only lost 130 games.
Who's counting?
So who's counting? But who's going to complain about the 29-3, the 31-1, the 20-something and whatever? And over time, you're going to not even hear anything because coach knows best. He's done it. Those kind of things. So I don't get that.
Right.
We share with the players and the parents what the expectations are, what we're going to do. We don't have conversations on playing time. It is difficult to find, 5 players. You got to only play 5. Players 6, 7, 8 probably are about as good as player 4 and 5. But I have to make the call on who's out there. And I make mistakes, and it's tough, but I still stand behind who I have to play. I don't get the complaints. It's been years and years and years that I've gotten anything from parents, and I love the parents. They're always usually great and supportive, but we win a lot. But I would say this, and it's sad for all the sports. I think the life expectancy of a young coach now, because of parents, will be about 10 years. Those days of somebody lasting 30, 31, 32, 35, 40 years, which in the old days guys would last 40, they're probably gone because this next young generation of parents, the expectations are not the realization of what's going to take place at the high school level. And I think it's tough on coaches. A coach that goes 500 and the coach doesn't know what he's doing. He's not calling the right timeouts. He's not running the right offense. He's this. It's going to be tough for that because the parents are not realistic on what they see out there.
So what would your advice be to a young coach that's feeling the heat with that? And then I want to ask you what your advice is to the parents that are given the heat.
So the young coaches, you need to be a student of the game. You can't be that guy that thinks you're going to roll the ball out in scrimmage during practices. You have the big picture, break it down into the smallest parts, offense and defense, and literally let's get back to coaching and teaching. Let's teach that pass into the lane to the post guy. let's teach the defensive slides that you want that team. Let's do it 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 4-on-4, 5-on-5. And I think we've rushed young coaches too quickly into the head coaching jobs. I mean, I see it in Jacksonville all the time. Just guy comes out of nowhere, never coached before, and now he's a head coach at some school. I'm like, what is his background? His background's a player. Man, we all play. We got to learn how to coach, right?
Right.
And I was a JV coach for 4 years. I learned from one of the best guys out there, but I was 4 years JV coach. We got away from guys paying their dues as JV coaches, kind of learning the high school scenery, the officiating, and then after 3 to 5 years, then you might have an opportunity to be a head coach. We rush guys into that head coaching, and to be honest, they're not ready for that.
Interesting.
And then we got to get back. We got to get back to teaching
Very
and coaching.
interesting. That's very interesting. So, all the parents that think their kid is the best player and going to get a Division I scholarship, what advice do you have to that? Because that's just not realistic. But
Not realistic.
It is unfortunately our culture. I think it's to some degree.
The advice I would give to all the parents, let the coach. You be mom and dad. You just enjoy what your son or daughter's doing, and they're probably doing phenomenal stuff. There's probably shouldn't any talk about scholarships or playing at Duke or Florida.
Right.
It should just be you go become as great as you can be, and then at the end of the day, let's just see if you're junior college, NAIA, Division II, Division III, maybe Division I, but have fun in the process. You don't need to videotape the entire game. You don't need to go back home and criticize every mistake that young person made. Let the coach. He'll go over some of the mistakes. I mean, we only touch on maybe 3 to 4 things that a player might do right or wrong. We're not going to harp on the mistakes. We move on to the next play. But I think you have a chance of ruining that great relationship between a dad and a son, or a mom and a son, or a mom and a daughter, when you're going to scrutinize everything they do on the court. And that child picked up a basketball like I did and fell in love with it. And I literally loved the game. My parents weren't involved in my basketball. And now that I see parents, I'm glad my parents weren't, because I see some of these things where parents can be extremely hard.
Right.
Harder than the coach will ever be.
For sure. And that is great advice. And actually, I think this is a very important question. I'd love to know it, since you've had so much experience and seen so many players. At the end of the day, my guess is the player has to decide that they want to be great. It's not the
Correct.
coach or the parent. Is that true?
True.
And does that come? What role that comes from inside? So, like a parent harping on you and a coach harping on you. I'm assuming, in your experience, that hasn't really.
It will not work.
So you can. It's a fire inside, whether they have it or they don't,
Correct.
and it's okay either way.
It's okay either way.
Right.
They may be a really good player, and their thing is, I don't want to play college basketball. I just want to go to Florida and be a student. I applaud that. Let's do that. And then there might be another player that's on your bench that says, I want to play somewhere, coach, and I will find them a home. Since 2017, there's not been a senior that played for me that said, Coach, I want to play somewhere. I will find you someplace. We've always found since 2017.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really
But
interesting.
they have that love. They have that passion.
But before you take on that responsibility, you know whether that's
Yeah,
real.
because they've already demonstrated that this is really. I love this game. I want to do this.
Right.
It will never be a parent or a coach. The parent cannot want it more than the player.
Right.
And the player will demonstrate everything to show he wants it more than anybody. He'll be the first guy in, last guy out. He's the guy hitting me up, Coach, can I get in on a Sunday? Can I get in on a he's hitting me up nonstop to get in there. The guy that doesn't want it shows up at practice time, takes him 5 minutes to put his shoes on, takes no warm-up shots, first guy out the door. I mean, he puts his slides on, beeline out the back door. So again, you know who those players are. The parents, and all kids are different. They cannot want it more. They can't be the one, Division I. Let's just see where the chips fall.
Well, that's such great advice. I love hearing that. And let's be honest. I mean, I never played college basketball, but it's a lot of work, right? Whether you're Division III or Division I, like it is a job, right?
It's a job.
So like you make that choice and you're not a regular student doing whatever regular kids do. You have a job. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. I mean, your schedule's dictated by what, and it's year round now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not you thinking you're playing basketball from October. They have an off season. You're lifting. You're going in there. You're taking the protein. You're doing it all. I don't like the protein. You're taking the protein. We got to get you 15 pounds stronger, and you're going to take the protein, and you're going to, and I don't like the taste. You're still drinking.
Right.
So
That's funny.
it's a job that and the kids that have the passion, they figure it all out. They can't wait till the next workout.
Exactly.
And I would say this is another thing going to college too. Now we deal with kids with some bumps and bruises. Coach, I'm only 85%. I'm not sure I can go today. Man, you're better than me. I'm operating at 80%. You got to go at 85. When you get to college and after your first day, I don't care what level, and you do 2 days, you do two practices in that day, you're sore the rest of the season. You got to figure out how to get out there and go. The guys that find ways to stay in the training room, they're the guys that never on the court. That's another thing we're dealing with kids that think they're only 85%.
That's funny. Well, let's move into what you've done with Above, because I know from personal experience with my son, you really have set the stage in Jacksonville for kids to really enjoy basketball at a young age and have a progression system with that. And I know there's a couple different organizations, but talk about Above and when you decided to start that and what it's all about.
So the original one, and it's still in existence, and I kept it because I started it 18 years ago. The original one is Jacksonville Basketball
Correct.
Academy, which I started, and I was able to operate a little bit small scale out of Providence and kind of worked our way up to about 50 or 60 kids. And I had a very close friend of mine, Mark DiBiase. His children played for me, and his son Marky is still involved in the team as he's a beautiful kid that coaches with us. But he built that first gym for us off Beach Boulevard, and we went from maybe 50 or 60 kids in 2011 to quickly we grew to 250 kids.
Wow. Rotating in through camps during
leagues,
summer,
everything,
skill sessions, things along those lines.
Everything, gym packed every night, every day. And I had a couple dads that were in our program. One was a real estate guy, and one was a general contractor. They're like, "You're getting too big. You got to get another location." Mm-hmm. And luckily, I'm always try to be one step ahead. I got the location, so I'd already scouted out that property that we're at off Phillips at Above.
Right.
And we got that. We bought the property maybe about 10 years ago, and then it took us a little time to develop it. And I had every nickel, every dime that I could put into that, because this time I wanted to be one of the owners of the overall facility.
Right.
We were going to run the basketball, and then I wanted to have a piece of the pie. So we took everything, my family, pull it all together. We're going to be in as one of the investors.
Well, obviously it's worked out really well. I know that facility well. And where you put it was a great spot too, because there wasn't a lot of coverage over in that area of town. YMCAs have done great. They're an awesome place for basketball, but you bringing Above, and I remember Jacksonville basketball organizing all of the young kids in tournaments at the end of the year. That really didn't exist, and it's grown, and
Correct.
I think in different directions. But I think you were probably one of the founders of that idea.
I think we got out in front of the fact that kids were coming to us in high school that couldn't use their left hand, kids that weren't coached up. In our academy, we have full-time, most of all of our coaches in our academies are either middle school, JV, or high school coaches that are doing it for all the right reasons. And we were able to get kids. Part of why the success of Jacksonville basketball is that there's so many and above talented young players that are at all these schools. When you get into St. Johns County or Jacksonville, I would say there's a handful of kids in all of these programs, Bishop Kenny, Episcopal, Bulls, wherever, St. Johns County, that have come through our academy are well coached, that understand winning, understand good shot, bad shot.
Well, and let's face it, I mean, basketball has become a lot more competitive. And the people, as kids, when you're starting to learn those skills early, it pays off, and you can tell.
When you look at the great shooters in town, and you say, Ryan, and your son's a great shooter, Tyler's a great shooter, Tyler Cruck is a great shooter. They learned that early on, and their shots only got better. We get kids coming to high school that we're trying to reinvent the shot for them, and it's too late.
Right.
Your shot will get a little better. You're never going to be a great shooter. When you get that great shooting ability by the time you're in 6th or 7th grade, you only get better. I don't have to come in and break down your shot and us start over.
Right.
So those will come from good trainers, good coaches. That I do feel bad for the kids that don't get that opportunity to be around great coaches like that. When they get to high school, there's probably something at that point that they're further behind. That young
it becomes
kid that was
more
coached
X's
well.
and O's at that point, and I completely get that. Can you see greatness right off the bat? And when I say greatness, I'm talking about basketball. When you see a kid in the 8th grade or something like that, you go to this tournament, and then you look, you're like, oh my gosh, like the potential is unbelievable. Can you spot that early, or what's your thought process?
No,
with that?
I'm on the opposite of that. I don't think you can see it. You can see an athletic kid, like, the kid's pretty athletic. That greatness you don't see until it all comes together for that kid mentally, probably a little spiritually too, but mentally, and then physically it all comes together, and you go, oh my God, that guy is going to be unbelievable. The Grayson Allen story, I mean, he played JV for us. I didn't see it then. I didn't see it as sophomore.
You did not see it then. I've heard this before. It's hard for me to believe.
I saw a really good player.
Yeah.
I knew he was a Division I kid, but I don't know that I ever saw a Duke kid. I don't think I saw an NBA kid. Wow. I mean, I thought I saw a guy that's going to be great for us. He's going to be great in college. I didn't know what you can't factor in on some of these kids. No one ever has played for me that's worked harder than Grayson Allen. No one was more athletic than him. But he blossomed every year, and he's blossomed every year that he was at Duke, and every year he's been in the NBA.
Right.
There's no way anybody, and if they're telling you that, they're probably lying to you. Like, no one would know how hard he worked, only a guy like Grayson or his coach that had to get him out of there at times. Like, come on, we got to go home. But I believe in the late bloomer guy that pulls it all together. He adds those 15 pounds of muscle. Out of nowhere, this guy's jumping out of the gym. This guy's shooting it lights out. And you're like, man, the guy was good, but it's just all coming together now.
So it's super interesting.
I worry about the guy. I see this all the time, that athletic guy. He's so athletic. He's the hot shot guy that just relies only on athleticism. Doesn't work on his left, doesn't work on his shot, doesn't work on all that. And it's, I believe in the late bloomer guy. You'd be amazed the number of kids that have left Jacksonville that were somewhat late bloomers that were really solid in their foundation of their game, go on. And I'm going to say this, have Hall of Fame careers. Eckerd College, St. Leo's, Division III, all of these schools that maybe you don't hear about, but they're good programs at every level. And that kid is so good in where he goes and in his environment, he becomes a 4-year Hall of Fame guy that is so proud of his career. Or I'll know the kid and I'm proud of his career too. But there's so many guys out there that have been on the other side that are total busts.
Right. That's super interesting. Well, it's interesting to everybody listening, what you said. the best player you've ever coached, more or less, was the hardest worker.
Correct.
I mean, that says it all. When we see the bright lights and we see everything, he's gifted or whatever, like, you need to be more than gifted, right?
You got to be more than that. It'll take you so far, and then the hard work and the determination.
That's excellent, excellent. Well, as we're wrapping up here, and this was awesome, I appreciate you coming on. Really feel special to be talking to you. We've got kids out there or young people that want to be coaches, okay? They're looking up to you. They're like, man, I would love to emulate his career. I want to be a coach. What do I do? Give those people some advice on how do they get to even close to your level, or what priorities do you need to have to be a successful coach?
So my advice to all the coaches, get with someone that can mentor you, that's been around. I love Chip Stroud at Episcopal. He's one of the top coaches. If you can get on his staff, he used to coach with me. He was part of the 2010 team. Get with him. Brian Hoff in Orlando is phenomenal. I think Ben Wilson at Ponte Vedra is really good. I think Will Wilson at Tecoy Creek, he coached with me. Find that coach's background. See if he's the mentor type coach. Get with him. If he's a guy that likes to play chess on the basketball court, get with that guy. If that guy just wants to play checkers on the basketball court, don't get with that guy. Learn the game.
So are you the Nick Saban of high school basketball? You got all these disciples everywhere from you. That's got to make you proud.
I'm so proud of these guys. I'm so proud of them. They're still trying to beat me. I'm so proud of that. But no, I'm proud of them. They all have great programs. They're all great coaches. I think they took all the good stuff with them. With me being sometimes a little bit of a nutcase and being an emotional, fired up guy, they're probably better off. Jerry Buckley coached with me. He was one of my assistants at Kenny. Those guys got the best personalities, and they don't get too worked up like I do, but they're still great coaches. But for young guys, we had 7 coaches on our staff. We have young coaches that are in kind of our mentor program.
Yeah.
But I would get with coaches like that. That can spend the time to give you stuff to do. The worst thing to do is go coach at a program and you stand on the sideline and have no input. When you come work for us, you're going to have input. You're going to be down there. We're going to hand you a pad. You're going to be, padding up Nolan and Colton and all those big guys we got. You're going to be hitting them every day, and you're going to learn from myself. And then with Antoine and Tyler, you're going to pick up so much from those 2 guys too.
That's awesome. Well, great advice for everybody out there, and I can see that you still have the fire, the energy,
love it.
And the smile, absolutely, to rattle off a few more championships. You're young. I mean, the sky's the limit. So can we make it a number 5?
We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it a number 5 sometime. We're gonna make it a number 5. But I would say this in closing almost. I'm on the back 9, and there could be other challenges out there too. I don't know what those might bring, but I've always kept the door open for other opportunities. And I love Providence. I don't see myself going anywhere. But if knock opportunities strikes, I will always listen to great opportunities.
Well, it was an honor to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
Great seeing you again too, Aaron. It's awesome.
The Hometown Jax podcast is recorded and produced by First Coast Mortgage Funding, located in the heart of Jacksonville. Do you want to be our next guest? Visit our website at hometownjaxpodcast.com. We can't wait to hear your story.